Now we're at step 2 or part 2, and let's talk about Kenyatta College in general. And this is what all incoming freshmen need to complete. It's mandatory to actually take classes here. So we're covering it together here. So know that the latest news about our campus closure and reopening plans, summer courses, if you are planning to take summer with us, it is going to be 100% online. In the fall, what we know for sure is that asynchronous classes will be meeting, online. We'll continue to meet online. So asynchronous, if you're not sure what that means, it means that you're not meeting at the same day and time. Synchronous means that you are meeting live with your professor in class. So just remember it that way. Synchronous, it syncs, right? So for students who need somebody there live, we don't recommend taking asynchronous classes because most of the time you're just going to be assigned to watch videos and read materials and then just do the work independently. But if you like that, I know a lot of students do who have social anxiety. They don't want to be in a class with other people and have to interact. Asynchronous might be great for you. So keep that in mind. And there'll be more notices as fall approaches. We're still trying to figure out what the fall schedule is looking like. But as far as I have been told by our dean, asynchronous will continue to stay online for the fall. And then for COVID, up-to-date COVID-19 information, there is a link here, which we'll provide you all the links. We'll email it to you later, as well as a link to this PowerPoint presentation. Know that you'll find the latest news of how we're handling the pandemic on our website. Testing sites, all the protocols and safety precautions if you need to come on campus for any reason. So that is all on the Kenyatta website. And now I'm gonna bring it back to Nikki, who's gonna go over how to apply to the college.
Okay, so applying for the college is quite easy. First step is pretty much just completing the application process. There is a two-part of that. There is the creating of the CCC account and then the actual application. So make sure you follow through with creating your account as well as going through to the application process. At this moment, there isn't any placement testing going on due to our AB 700 bill. So your placement tests will be, your placement for your classes will be based on your high school transcripts. I will provide in the chat a link to the bill if you want to take a look at that, but not necessary, but if you like to for informative reasons, totally available to you. We'll also provide that on this recording when we put it on our DRC website as well. The second step would be for your ID number. It's quite easy. As soon as you apply for the college, you can get your ID number or your student G number. That's going to be very beneficial and necessary for signing up for classes, student services, making appointments. So make sure that you do have your student G number or ID number. That'll also give you access to your student portal. If you ever need any assistance with retrieving any of this information or applying for the college, we do have student ambassadors within our department, specifically for our DRC students, and as well in the Welcome Center. I'm gonna now pass it on to Tanu for some academic information.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanu Do, and I'm the adjunct academic counselor for the DRC. You can pronounce my name like Canoe, but with a T, because if you see it, it's kind of, confusing. It can be very confusing on how to pronounce my name, but it's Tanu, okay? So today I'm gonna go over the academic terminology that you're gonna see a lot and hear a lot when you start at Kenyatta, okay? So the first word is register. So this is when you want to take classes. It's different from high school in that you yourself will have to register for the class. There are 3 registration periods in the academic year: the fall, the spring, and the summer. Okay. To register for these classes, you'll add their CRN numbers into WebSmart. Okay, so the next word is add. So adding is also another term for once the semester has already started, you'll have to add the class into your WebSmart to register. Now, if the classes have already begun, then you will need to speak to your professor in order to get an add code. Okay, and that's a two-step process for how to add a class once the semester has already started. The next word is drop. So if you're taking a class that you feel like you're not going to pass, or you're not doing well in, or if you're taking too many units and you'd like to drop a class so that you can focus on your other classes, then you can drop a course. So there are many different kinds of drops and different deadlines for these drops. The next word is waitlist. So if a class you wanted to register for is full, okay, and you can see this on your web schedule as well, then you can add your name to the waitlist in WebSmart, okay? After the first day of class, the professor will let you know if you can register for the course and will give you an add code, okay? Now one kind of drop is called the W drop or a withdrawal, okay? So this is a W or withdrawal from a course, and it'll show on your transcript once you drop the course from your registration page in your WebSmart, okay? If you're dropping in the first 2 weeks of the semester, there will be no record of the W on your transcript. W notations do affect your progress in your academic standing, as well as the number of attempts at a course that you can take in the district, okay? The next kind of drop is called an EW. So EWs are extenuating withdrawals or extenuating circumstance withdrawals. For example, if a student has a medical emergency in the middle of the semester and they're no longer able to continue their classes, then they can petition for an EW, okay? Another example is during the pandemic, COVID-19, all community colleges basically gave their students a chance to request an EW. So EWs do not affect academic standing or the attempts at a course in the district, okay? The next word is CRN. This is course registration number. So when you're registering for a class, you need to know the CRN of the courses that you're planning to take. So these are listed next to the class in the schedule. And you can, each course that you want to take, so let's say it's a Business 100 class, there may be 5 sections of that class, and each course will have each Business 100 will have a different CRN number, okay? The next word is SEP. So an SEP is a student educational plan, and it outlines the courses required for a certain educational goal. So students should meet with a counselor each semester to go over their educational plans. The next word is GPA. So GPA is grade point average. So letter grades, okay, A, B, C, D, and F, are assigned points, which are then averaged to give you a grade point average. So students do need to have a 2.0 GPA to be in good academic standing at the college. Academic standing, that's the next word, is determined by the progress as well as the GPA. So progress is determined by, let's say you have a certain number of withdrawals overall, you need to have 67% completion and a 2.0 GPA overall in order to stay in good academic standing with the college and financial aid. The next word is probation. So if a student gets below a 2.0 GPA or 67% completion, then you're placed on probation 1. If you're unable to pass the classes for that following semester or stay in the classes for that following semester, then you're placed on probation 2. The next word is then reinstatement. So after 2 semesters of probation, so we have probation 1 and probation 2, so that could be like a year, right? You will be dismissed from the college. So the word dismiss can seem really scary, but it's actually just a process of, reinstating and coming back into the college, meeting with a counselor, coming up with a plan as to how you're going to get above a 2.0 again and how you're going to maintain above that 67% completion. The next word is prerequisite. So a prerequisite are the requirements or courses that you're required to take before you take a specific class. So for example, for a lot of students who are going to be taking Math 200 statistics for their degree or for transfer, they need to complete intermediate algebra or place into Math 200. So there's intermediate algebra or pathway to statistics. So that's what a prerequisite is. And you can see if a course has prerequisites or not on the web schedule or in the catalog. And the next word is co-requisite. So a co-requisite is a course that needs to be taken at the same time as another course. So if let's say, we're kind of struggling in math, we know we're not good at math, and we want to take a supplemental course with our math course, okay? So we now have, because of AB 705, Math 200 statistics that is taken with a co-requisite of Math 800, which is just a supplemental math tutoring kind of class that you have more time with your professor to go in depth in certain chapters of the textbook. And so that's an example of what a co-requisite is. So the next slide that I'm going to be talking about, and I know this is a lot of information. So all of this information is in the student handbook for you guys to reference. And it's in the catalog as well. So each year the catalog comes out. At the beginning, there's all of the, the rules and procedures and policies of the college that I'm going over right now. So this slide is talking about priority registration. So all DRC students get priority registration unless, you are attending, it's your first semester at the college and you didn't meet with a counselor, a DRC counselor, and get started with the intake process and complete that before registration dates for the summer and fall are processed. If you're a concurrent student, if you don't have an updated student educational plan on file by the deadline, or if you have over 100 units or are on probation, you would need to meet with me so that we can create an ed plan, do the ed plan, talk about strategies on how to pass our classes for the next semester, and then submit all of that information to admissions and records. Okay, so the programs that do get priority registration are DRC, EOPS, CalWORKS, veterans, homeless youth, and foster youth, as well as, the second priority registration day is athletics, Promise, the associated student body, and TRIO, and international students. And so this next slide that I'm going over is web schedule. Okay, so web schedule is, it's on the Kenyatta homepage where you can look up the catalog as well as the schedule of classes. Okay, so right there, as you can see, web schedule, you can just click view classes and you'll be able to see currently in this semester, you'll see what was offered this semester, what's going to be offered in the summer, and what is going to be offered in the fall. Next slide, please. Okay, so the schedule of classes versus the college catalog, okay? So the catalog is a list of all of the courses that are offered at Kenyatta, okay? So catalogs are released in the fall of each new academic year, okay? Schedules are the list of courses offered in a specific semester. So schedules are released for fall, spring, and summer, okay? Next slide, please. So this is how we read the schedule of classes. So as you can see on that left-hand side, you can see the course registration number for these 3 English 100 sections, okay? There's also the days, the professor who's teaching it, the meeting times, okay? And if you click into the class, you'll be able to get more information on the course. If it's transferable, what area in your general education it counts for, how many units it is, what the course will cover, all of the information on when's the last day to drop the class with a W, the last day to drop a class with a full refund, the last day to request certain grades. All of that information is in the course once you click on that course, okay? And one other thing that I did want to mention is Bettina had mentioned something about asynchronous classes and synchronous classes. So in your web schedule, if you see, right, as you can see the course type on the left-hand side, it says D, right, day with the sun. So that means that it was a course that was offered in person, right, at those meeting times, okay? Now, if you're going to be looking on the schedule, you're going to see like a little globe, a blue globe kind of a thing. And that's going to actually signify that it was a in-person course that was changed into a virtual format due to COVID-19. So those classes generally will still have lectures at those times designated on the meeting time on Zoom. If a course is just has kind of like it's a red www, that means it's like an online course. Those are all asynchronous, meaning that you're going to be working on and reading through the lectures and the readings on your own time with an assignment deadline of like Sunday, right? So you'll have to complete all the readings when you can, all the assignments when you can, and submit them all by 11:59 on Sunday. That's kind of usually how those asynchronous classes work, okay? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and then here is the catalog, okay? So the catalog you can access at that website right there. If you just go into Cañada's homepage and then you click catalog, this will pull up, okay? So you could search, it's really great to have this because you can just search in any class and you can see the course descriptions. You can look at degrees and certificates. You can see the whole list of, you know, certificates, degrees, associate degrees for transfer that the college offers, and all of the requirements for that, okay, as well as what is transferable to CSU, UC, etc. And all of the college policies are in this college catalog as well, okay? Okay. And then WebSmart. So WebSmart is really the main hub, right? If you needed to register for classes, change your personal information on there, apply for financial aid, apply for the Promise program, look up, you know, like get your transcripts or your unofficial transcripts, buy your parking permit, DegreeWorks, you know, GPA calculator, everything is in your WebSmart, okay? So, you know, the first time that you sign in, it's going to be your student ID number, and then the password is your birth date. Okay, it's a 6-digit birth date code. And then after that, you can change your password if you want to. Okay. One other thing to note in here is you can also access your email account through here. The only thing is the school doesn't assign an email account now until you register and pay for your classes. Okay. And then next slide. So we are going to be sending you guys the student handbook, like link in how to navigate WebSchedule, WebSmart. It kind of shows like a step-by-step of how to register for classes in there as well. And so if you guys have any questions at all, just feel free to reach out to our office and then we'll be able to help you with that. Next slide, please. Okay, and so DegreeWorks. All students have access to DegreeWorks through their WebSmart. DegreeWorks is where it shows all of the general education and major course requirements for all the degrees and certificates in the district. So when you're working with a counselor, this is the tool and the program that we're using to kind of help plan out and create a student educational plan of what classes to take each semester, how many semesters it'll take to transfer, and kind of go over those requirements. So you should be able to see the ed plans that you make with a counselor through your DegreeWorks, as well as if you kind of wanted to play with the what if feature in there, just to see yourself, if I were to go for, you know, this degree, how many units is that versus this other major, right? So it's a really cool tool. So I'd encourage you guys to kind of look at that as well. And then the next slide, please. Okay, so this last slide is about parking. So, you know, all students, if you are going to be coming to campus, and most likely, you know, it's not going to be in the summer and the fall, we don't know yet, but you will need to purchase a parking permit. Okay, so you will be able to park in any of the student lots. Okay, you won't need a parking permit for the first 2 weeks of the semesters for fall and the spring. And then for the summer semester, you don't need to have a parking permit through the first week. And this is just because, let's say you attend some classes that you thought that you would like, and then they didn't end up being, you know, a right fit, and then you drop the course, then you don't have to worry about, you know, having to, you know, pay for parking at all, right? One thing I did want to note is if you do have a disabled person parking placard, you'll still need to pay for a parking permit, but you can park in any of the lots that has the disabled parking spot. Okay, so that is one thing to note about the parking permits for the disabled parking on campus. Okay, and then the last slide. So here are an example of 3 types of academic goals. So we have the certificate programs on campus, the associate degree programs, the associate degree for transfer programs, and transferring to CSUs, UCs, or private universities. So when you're meeting with, me or any other counselor on campus, this is kind of where we start with kind of figuring out what classes you're going to need to take, how long it's going to take, and how to discussing kind of strategies and resources on campus to help you be successful. So I'm going to now go back to Jenna, and Jenna is going to go over transfer assistance.
Thank you, Tanu. That was a really great job. And as Tanu mentioned, there really is a lot of information here, and it's okay if you're feeling a little bit overload. And if you have any questions, please email us. That is what we're here for, to support you and to help clarify this stuff. But that was a really great overview. So now talking about transferring, the first piece that we want to talk about is when you're thinking of transfer, which it's good to kind of keep in mind what grades are you getting, what is your GPA. And so good standing is a 2.0. And so that is a really good one to aim for, 2.0 or above when it comes to transfer. Ideally, you want to aim for C's or higher, especially in the major courses. And really, when it comes to getting a D in the class, that is something that it might be a time for you to maybe reach out to us for supports, strategies, because D can technically be considered failing. But again, it depends on what your goal is, what you're transferring, and what the class is. So I really encourage you to, when it comes to the academic counseling, to make an appointment with Tanu or the academic counselor that's in EOPS or Promise or what counselor you're working with. So it gets a little tricky on the class, the grade, the GPA, but it is pretty important when it comes to transfer, is what I want to really make the point right now. So if you're having any difficulty with your classes, let us know and meet with an academic counselor. The next piece that we're going to talk about is what are the supports. There's a lot of cool things that our campus does when it comes to helping with transfer. The first place would be our transfer website. Check it out. They list all great, cool information when it comes to workshops that are happening, university visits, where you can get more information about how to transfer. But after the website, definitely meet with your counselor. The academic counselors are fantastic at Kenyatta, and they can really talk to you to help you understand your goals of where do you want to transfer to. Is it a UC? Is it a CSU? Is it a private university? And really look at your career goals and where you want to look for. They also will go over the TAG, which is a program specific for UCs and early admissions. Assist.com is a great website to help students to look into transfer. And we do have connection with university reps that would come to campus or do Zoom workshops as well. So a lot of great supports when it comes to transferring, but I would say the website and talking to your academic counselor are the 2 big pieces. Next point. I think the next link is just the website that you can go to. Yes, so these are the websites you can check out. Assist.org. Apologize for that's an error on the site. Thank you, Tanu. And so these are websites to check out and look into. And it's absolutely okay if you don't even know yet where you want to transfer or what you're thinking of. That's what the counselors are here for, to explore. Next slide, please. All right. So now when it comes to making an appointment with your academic counselor, there's actually a brand new system that's being used. It's called the Student Success Link. This is where students can go online and actually make an appointment directly with a counselor. So you go into one login that we'll be talking about, and you can meet with an academic counselor that way to talk about transfer, your SEP, all the great things that Tanu mentioned. So go to the one login there and you can meet with the academic counselor. The DRC is not quite yet in the Student Success Link CRM. We're transitioning to it. So if you need to meet with Tanu, our academic counselor, you can just contact Nikki to set up that appointment. But just know that for other programs like EOPS, Promise, General Counseling, they have all transitioned to an online system where you can make an appointment. And next, I'll be transitioning back to Tanu.
Okay, so this is kind of what to expect when you're meeting with an academic counselor, either me or any general counselor or the counselor program or program counselor of the program that you're a part of. So counseling appointments are generally 30 to 45 minutes. During that appointment, you're going to be creating a student ed plan or editing a student ed plan and talking about academic goals, whether that be the certificate, transfer, or the degree, the units required, how many units you do have, the GPA requirements, right, for CSU and UC, and then, discussing the courses to take in the next semester once schedules are released for the following semester. And a lot of times in the DRC, what I do help students do is create SEPs for Department of like for DOR, right, or for financial aid petitions, right. So we do create student ed plans to submit to DOR or financial aid, as well as go over GPA and academic standing, any petitions that may be required, prerequisite clearances, course repeat requests, transcript requests, or filing for your graduation petition. You do need to meet with a counselor to do that as well. So I do have drop-in hours. I have drop-in hours usually on Tuesdays or Wednesdays and Thursdays. I believe general counseling may or may not be having drop-in hours. I'm not sure about that for the following semesters with CRM. But there is drop-in hours that I do have. If you have any, questions that you wanted to ask that won't, any quick questions that you could have, you can just drop into my Zoom room at those times. And so now I'm gonna go back to Bettina. Bettina will continue the presentation.
Thank you, Tanu. Let me see if I can get to the next thing here. Okay, so hang in there. I know it's a lot of information. Like I said, you don't have to wait until the end to put in a question, and we'll get it to it all in the end. But I know sometimes as we're going, we kind of forget what we're going to ask. So either put in the chat or the Q&A box. But we're almost done, and we do have one more pop quiz, by the way. So hopefully you're hanging in there. Now, I want to go in what your one login is going to look like. It's very similar to employees, but once you get your login information with your G number and your email address, you'll have a one login portal just for you. And it's kind of a shortcut. So there you can access your classes just clicking on Canvas. You can access DegreeWorks and see how you're doing toward your academic goal. You can click on web schedule to see what classes are, open, which ones are closed, what time they're scheduled for before even the registration date. So you can go ahead and plan what you're going to sign up for. And WebSmart, that's where that's basically, I think, where most people go all the time to, pay, right? I think that's where I had to pay. I'm taking a couple of classes myself here. And parking, all that stuff is in there. And of course, as students, you do get your own Zoom account. So you can actually, if you want to have a study group, you can actually create your own Zoom meetings with your classmates and get together to study, because I know it's very hard to have study groups virtually, but know that this is what you're going to have access to, and this is what it's going to look like. And there are tutorials, which we're going to share all the links for you. We'll email it to you after our presentation. Now, if you haven't used Canvas at school yet, all our classes are using Canvas. It's just a platform where you can access all your classes, like I said, and this is what the dashboard looks like. Once you start class, your professors are going to go over in detail all the different links here on the side. But really important, I want to point out, is the syllabus. In the syllabus, a lot of students don't read it, but I highly encourage you to read it, because remember, you have, the first 2 weeks to add or drop classes, right? And get your money back and all that. So in the syllabus is where your professors are going to put the plan for the whole semester, how many assignments there are, how many tests there are, how many research papers. And you could take a look to see if it's reasonable or not reasonable, that fits in your schedule. What a lot of students make a mistake on is they think they can handle it and it's too much, and then they drop later and they don't get their money back, and now they have a withdrawal on their transcripts or a fail, which is not good. So, but all of the things that you see here, they're going to go over. I just want to point out NetTutor our campus and actually all the campuses at district do offer 24/7 tutoring, which I think is really cool. But again, all your professors will go over all these tabs during the first week of class for their courses. Now, this is really important too. I wish somebody told me, how much time should you put aside to study in college? Because unlike high school, college requires a lot of independent study and work. You're not going to be doing that much work in the class. You're going to be doing it on your own. And that's when the study groups come in handy and all the tutoring services on campus. So, rule of thumb, if it'll work here, it's 3 hours for every unit. So if you're taking a 4-unit class, 4 times 3 is 12. So 12 hours is really what you should put aside. Some colleges recommend 2 hours, but it just depends on how fast you read and write. For me, I know I'm a lot slower than people. So for me, it's more like 4 hours for every unit than 2 or 3 hours. So just keep that in mind, especially when you're planning what classes you're going to take. If you're going to be having a job on the side, your obligations to family and your community, please don't take more classes than you can handle. We don't want you to be getting burnt out, okay? And I'm gonna pass it back to Tanu, who's gonna explain your new responsibility as a college student. School is not free, is it, Tanu? Unlike K through 12.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, unless you are a concurrent enrollment student, then you don't have to pay any fees actually, if you're attending and taking college classes while you're in high school. So fees are generally due at the time of registration. If you don't pay your fees within, I believe it's a week, they usually post the deadlines on the academic calendars. But if you don't pay them within a week, then you will get dropped from your classes. So we don't really want that to happen, especially when we have something, in the following semesters like priority registration and we get our first choice course, we don't want to kind of risk losing that class, right? And so you can sign up for a payment plan through your WebSmart if you need to. You can also apply for financial aid through your WebSmart. There's, various grants as well as the California Promise Grant, which used to be called the BOG fee waiver, which pays for your enrollment fees. So it's, part of the financial aid application that you fill out. So one other thing is you do need to make sure that if you're not doing well in a class and you want to drop the class, then you need to do it in your WebSmart versus kind of waiting on your professor to do that. Just because if you've, if your professor doesn't drop you, then you could end up getting the failed grade for it, etc. Currently, I think it's $46 per unit for the enrollment fees for Kenyatta and the district. Okay. Parking, book and school supplies, those are all, you can pay for all of those things in your WebSmart as well. The fees are all listed on that website right there. Now, the district does have something called the inclusive access books. So for example, a biology professor can upload a textbook into Canvas and that's your textbook for the class. And it's usually around a 60 something dollar fee that is part of your enrollment fees. If you would prefer to either borrow the textbook from someone else or rent it through like Chegg or Amazon, right? Then you do need to opt out of the inclusive access book. So all of that information of if there is an inclusive access book is in the web schedule when you click onto the class, as well as in the syllabus of a course. Okay. If we don't pay for any of the textbooks that are part of our fees or the enrollment fees or anything like that, then you could potentially have a hold placed on your account. When you do have a hold placed on your account, you won't be able to register for the following semester, as well as get transcripts or anything like that until the hold or the financial fee is paid. Okay. Next slide, please. And so, here's, kind of the slide for paying for college. So the Promise Scholars Program is a great program on campus that we have for students who can commit to being full-time students. So that's 12 units or around 4 classes a semester. They do recommend that students take 15 as their program is geared for students who want to complete a certificate, degree, or transfer in 2 years. So this program does provide academic and financial support for 2 to 3 years. And you can apply for the Promise Scholars Program through your WebSmart. There's the California College Promise Grant, what I talked about, which used to be called the BOG fee waiver. So this is a part of the financial aid application, but they are 2 separate things. Sometimes students will qualify for the CCPG, but not for any of the grants from financial aid. So in here too, the financial aid application, apply by March 2nd for priority consideration, but I would say just apply as soon as you can. The deadline has already, the enrollment for priority has already passed, but still apply. The other thing is the work study program. So if you notate that on your financial aid application, then you do get priority in terms of getting a job on campus. Okay. There's also the California Dream application, and the links are right there, as well as scholarships that we do have on campus. I believe there's a scholarship for the San Mateo Community College District that students apply for. And you do need one recommendation from someone on campus usually, but that's a scholarship through San Mateo Community College District. So I'm going to now give the presentation back to Nikki.
In addition to our department and what we provide and the services that we assist with, we do have a lot of important other programs on campus as well. I don't know if it's gonna pop up with them, but we have Spark Point, which is very beneficial for food assistance, legal advice, if you need assistance with housing, anything like that, Spark Point helps a lot with. We also have CalWorks. We also have EOPS, athletics, and we have a ton of other programs. If you click on the link below, you can definitely look at all of our programs and resources that we do provide for the students at Cañada College. Not specifically just for us, but for everybody. If I may have, thank you very much. If you go into your one login, you are able to set up your student email. Or I'm sorry, if you go into your WebSmart, which is within your one login, you are able to set up your student email. But then again, I believe Tanu said that that is only available as soon as you register for classes and you apply for the college. So make sure you do that. And that way you can go ahead and go into your WebSmart and create your studentmy.smccd.edu email address, so that that is your universal school email address for all 3 colleges. You need any assistance with that, just let us know and we can help you with that as well. I am now going to pass it back to our director, Dr. Bettina Lee.
Thank you, Nikki. All right, I'm having trouble going back in. Okay, so here we are. We are at our next pop quiz. Jenna, would you do the honors?
All right, we have 2 questions here. Which of the following can you apply for within this WebSmart? And number 2, when do you have to pay your fees to avoid being dropped? Good luck.
So I had to promise to share our campus map, and I've never been on campus. I apologize because I don't live up there yet, but I will. So it looks like we have 2 entrances, correct? Right here and right here. Which one is the one that's open right now? Is it the main one?
Okay. The main one that's open right now is the one off of Farmville Boulevard.
Off of here. Okay. And then this is our building, correct? Yes. So I think those are the really 3 important things that you all need to know. And we'll, like I said, on the COVID-19 website or web page that we have on our website, there'll be up-to-date notices of, which roads are closed. I know we have some construction going on campus as well, but this link will give you maps and a directory for anything you can think of on campus. And let's see here. Now, this is really important, Title IX. And we posted on our DRC website as well. Title IX is basically, it prohibits discrimination. And so we have no tolerance for anything that's harassment, sexual harassment, stalking, even if it's, I think virtual counts as well nowadays. So please know that we do have a Title IX coordinator. He happens to be our boss, Dean Hartman, and his contact information is on our website. But we want you to know your rights, that you have a right and you are protected. You just have to let one of us know and we'll help you out. Also, code of conduct, it's very similar. Actually, it's probably exactly the same as high school, except we're a little bit more strict when it comes to cheating and plagiarism, because you can get kicked out of the college. But everything is, we'll give you the link for the student code of conduct. And then also, I want students to know not only what you're prohibited from doing, but that you also have a right to file complaints. We call it grievance in college and many workplaces. It's just a fancy word for complaint. But know that if you ever feel discriminated, if you ever feel like you're harassed, if you ever feel like your rights are violated in any way, you have a right to file a grievance. Please contact us. We'll help you through the process. And there is a link also on our website, as well as on this PowerPoint, with all the detailed steps. There is a quite a bit of a process, especially if you're filing a complaint against a professor. But know that you should not feel, if you feel scared, I understand, but please come talk to us so we can find out what's going on. It's really, really important. We're here to protect you and make sure that your well-being is really, really important to us. Okay, so know that we're always available. If you're feeling uncomfortable for any reason, you can't figure out why, come talk to us. We'll figure it out together. So that's really important. Also want you to know about the different student life organizations on campus. We mentioned DIRSA, which is our club, Disability Resource Center Student Ambassador Initiative, but we also have Active Minds, part of the Wellness Center as well. So Active Minds, they're a group of students who advocate and do great workshops to help students cope with any mental health challenges, whether it's stress during midterms, whether it's, feeling depressed because they feel isolated doing school from home. Again, you can find their link and join us on our weekly meetings. Know that you're welcome to any student club meeting on campus. So get involved, because one of the things I don't think people realize is if you're planning to transfer, you need this on your transfer resume. You need to show that you've been a part of the community and given back and taken on some leadership roles. So grades are just not good enough to transfer anymore. They want to know, what have you done for your community? What have you done for your peers? And this is a great way to just put something on your resume and stand out. Okay, and we'll put the link on there as well. Now, we just went through the whole process, right? Congratulations. Woohoo. I wish I had like some kind of animation here to do like confetti, but we just completed the orientation. So now you're just gonna have to apply to the college. Make sure you put in your math and English courses, because that's what we're gonna, that's gonna determine where we're gonna place you as far as your math and English courses. Then you're gonna meet with the counselor, probably Tanu. You're gonna register for classes, and then you're gonna go to classes, and it's gonna be fun. And you're gonna check in with us at least once a year, if not more, because we want to see how you're doing, make sure your accommodations are going well, and tweak your accommodations if need be. All right. And then let's see. All right, Nikki, Q&A time. What questions do we have in our chat and Q&A box? Thank you to all the reps that are at the school districts and your counselors for recommending that you come here. So what to expect next from us? We're going to be emailing you a certificate. The steps, again, how to apply with, all the links, directions on how to register with the DRC. We'll have all the links for you as well. And of course, all the links in this PowerPoint and then some. If you have your phones handy, this is the portal to everything that you need to know about the DRC. Just hold up your phone there, turn on the camera, make sure I'm not in it. But that should take you to our main DRC website, and that's our 11 o'clock alarm. So we look forward to meeting you via Zoom or hopefully one day in person. Thank you so much. And have a great day.